Explained by the Billy Meier contacts. Mysteries, myths, legends, conspiracy theories, historical inaccuracies, and more. Compiled by David Chance, revised October 18, 2023.
Dreams. Contact Report 010.
In the dream, the human being is able to create worlds of miracles, just as the creation consciously creates the worlds. For the human being, this ability grows out of his or her consciousness, which in the existence is present in him or her, in the same way as all miracles are present in him or her.
Contact Report 042.
But that bullet missed you by only a little, Quetzal told me. According to Quetzal, you did not worry about the event, nor did you think about it in any other manner, neither before, when you received the knowledge of what was to come, nor afterwards.
It's really not worth thinking a lot about such stupid things. But now you have said something about the previous knowledge about the coming events. Did you guys just cut in and teach me that stuff in my dream? It was a bit strange because I really didn't know anything about it, and so I could not adjust to it.
It was an intuitive dream form that warned you. We therefore have nothing to do with the warning.
Well then, once again, my better self has tried to take care of me.
You can call it that.
Contact Report 044.
Your wife has confused dreams.
Oh, I did not think of that. She absolutely wanted to watch a ghost film on television, and these twerps will now of course haunt her dreams.
That is how it will be, because she has a pronounced imagination, which unfortunately is not always of good values, and in negative form can and will also harm you.
You said that before.
Sure, but she also has a negative and untruthful influence on her surroundings and on many people, and now also on children, who also dream confused things.
Oh my goodness, are the junior ghosts chirping through their dreams now?
That may well be possible, even if they did not watch television.
Contact Report 053.
Fine if you want. The idiot shot my agenda book, which I had put in the breast pocket. Then the bullet, a small caliber, bounced off a strong metal plate, which I wore under my clothes as a precaution. I was prepared for the whole thing, because I had dreamed the incident 3 different times before. An assassination attempt on Billy by Jacobus Bertschinger. For several days Billy had been telling me again and again that he was struggling with a dream that had been appearing all the time lately. It was that in the dream he was hit by a bullet that bored into his left chest. And since Billy was very attentive to his dreams, he took this as a warning. I fastened together with Hans Schutzbach, as well as with his brother Conrad the armor plate, through which we had still pulled a wire at the 2 drill holes on the inside of Billy's heavy Canadian flying jacket, at chest height, because Billy had seen the bullet impact in this area in a dream.
Contact Report 054.
Be a little careful when walking on the grass and step into my prints. We must not leave too many clues.
Of course, but this grass has really grown very tall.
Unfortunately, people will see the landing support imprints. That is not good. I cannot just eliminate the whole meadow to cover the tracks. But I will find a solution. Simya Say's solution was to order the farmer through an impulsive telepathic urge to get up immediately and mow his meadow. A few weeks later, Billy spoke with the farmer and told him that he heard that the farmer had mowed his meadow at 3-8 Shuirars in the morning. The man confirmed this and explained that he had immediately awakened from a dream with the unconditional urge to mow his meadow. The urge was so strong that he immediately got up to do the work he had dreamed of, although he still did not really understand why he had done it.
Contact Report 055.
Is your sister black-haired?
Why are you aware of this?
Is it really like that?
Sure, but how do you know that?
You will be amazed. My wife finally had a dream. She explained to me that she saw in this one a very pretty black-haired girl with whom I talked in her dream. My wife heard that I called this girl Playa. She's supposed to be about my size.
Was that about 3 weeks ago?
The period should be right.
That is very interesting. At that time, Playa told me that she had received very strong streams of thoughts from somewhere, which she was not able to analyze and locate. So it must have been your wife who, for the last 2 months, has started to take an interest in our mission for some reason, as I have noticed. By the way, she possesses exceptionally strong consciousness-based powers, which would be worth evaluating for her if she only tried to do what she does not do.
Contact Report 066.
Your dreams are your medicine. Note: please see the full contact report for the context of this statement and the following entry from Contact Report 79.
Contact Report 079.
But I will still think about it, and perhaps once again get some dreams in order to get my feelings going, so that they move again in somewhat brighter paths.
Sure, you should do that, and even more often because of dreams, because they bring you relief and a certain balance.
Contact Report 104.
But something different. What about lectures in Cloten when I go there to hold such lectures? You know, my dream of that time. Is the danger still there? You once told me that I could give lectures if they did not refer to ufology.
That is of correctness. You can give lectures outside your center again, but be careful. The danger you mentioned has not been removed, but you may dare to go to that region.
Contact Report 115.
You should remember, however, that you should be especially careful starting from the year 1980, for the dangers in reference to your life will likewise increase rapidly.
That makes me worry the least of all. As long as my senses always warn me ahead of time of something evil, so long can I be somehow safe. You do know that I either tend to dream certain things in advance, or that I am made aware of such by my painful wrenching in the small of my back.
This fact is well known to me, but consider with this that all of this depends on your overall balance. If this is even only minimally impaired once by aggravation or grief, then these warnings can fail.
Contact Report 118.
Engelbert complained to me yesterday that he has quite lousy dreams. Do you know anything about this? That some outside influences could be at work there?
With certainty, that is not the case. His dreams are likely triggered by the very deplorable incidents of recent weeks and months, which produced an overload in him, which he is simply no longer able to bear. Everything accumulated in him until it led to an explosion, which apparently only pushed itself to the surface through his dreams, fortunately. This is completely natural, but also harmful and dangerous over time if he does not try to bring himself back into his own power, nervously and mentally. This should not be too difficult for him because he usually brings such attacks from the subconscious very well under control. With the whole happening, he should just be very careful that his manner, attacked by this, does not spread to his family members or to the group members, as this is frequently the case in such instances, because due to such phenomena, the behavior towards fellow human beings usually changes in an aggressive form, which the fellow human beings then simply do not accept and do not cope with, because it is, after all, an unjustified attack. But he can be reassured concerning this, that truly no outside influences whatsoever appear at present or have appeared in the last time, apart from the regrettable issues surrounding the vehicle.
Contact Report 182.
Right, now I remember again. You know, sometimes I have so much running around in my head that somehow I can no longer recall things at the right time.
However, as a person, you adapt yourself more than just very well, my friend, and I often ask myself how you endure the human condition in general. With your origin, your human body must prepare and must have always prepared evil sufferings for you, but just that you can endure this proves to me that even I could never take your place. For this, one must have already had a very long material life behind himself, in order to be able to endure such torments in a susceptible host body.
I do dream back sometimes, as a person can do this, you know.
Contact Report 191.
Furthermore, I also had an appropriate dream about 10 days ago, and although initially it was a little unclear to me, I still became aware early enough of what I should expect to hear when I went to the telephone in order to receive the message of the death of my brother.
Contact Report 229.
Jeremiah's predictions. The new time will bring it, that human beings will be able to communicate with each other without having to use the language of the mouth or the help of speaking tubes, for they will be able to receive and understand through their thoughts and feelings and through their heads all messages that another human being thinks and feels. And it will be that human beings will share dreams and live long. And the teaching of the prophet will contribute much to this, transforming the new time in its course into an easy time, where honest and true love and sharing, dreaming together, and making dreams come true. Note: please see the full contact report for the context of these statements. Whether or not these are literal or figurative is unclear to me.
Contact Report 246.
This is nonsense if it is assumed that clinical death can be equated with actual death. The truth for such assertions is truthfully that the supposedly deceased were only in the state of a false death, in which the spiritual form remains in the body while the material consciousness works underground, generating dreams, visions, etc.
Contact Report 249.
Truthfully, however, it is the case that nothing at all that man can conceive, dream up, conceive and fantasize about is simply undoable. For truthfully man can conceive, dream up, and conceive about nothing at all that is not feasible or producible. Everything that man can conceive, dream up or fantasize about is possible and feasible in a technical or conscious way or in any other way. So there is nothing for man in the whole universe that is not feasible and not producible for him when he imagines, conceives, imagines, or dreams something. The only things that are not feasible, not producible or not producible for him are delusions, such as religious delusion and fanaticism, etc., as well as illusions, which as delusions and fictitious images, etc., of the deluded affect their consciousness.
Contact Report 251.
In the spiritual teaching, I started with the extensive work of dream interpretation, and already explained that dream symbols in the whole universe have the same value or the same interpretation for human life forms. For this, it is of course always assumed that on other worlds the same symbols appear on the people there as on our earth. Of course, this is not always the case, because many other prerequisites are given on alien worlds, for example in the animal world and in technology as well as in landscapes, etc., whereby other symbols are also given in this respect. But if we now assume that ravens or snakes, etc., also exist on other worlds, then these have the same value in symbolic form as here on Earth. Stars, fire, water, air, volcanoes, and tens of thousands of other things exist in the entire universe, and these have the same values and interpretations as dream symbols, as is the case on Earth. Symbols that do not exist on Earth due to the other animal world, environment, technology, music and landscapes as well as plant world, etc., but exist on other worlds, would have the same values on Earth or elsewhere, if the corresponding prerequisites for them were also given here. Does this also apply to other universes? I think that this cannot be any different.
Your assumption is absolutely correct.
Contact Report 294.
We once talked about whether animals can dream as well as humans. I remember that you explained, as did Ketzel and Simyase, that all life forms, regardless of genus and species, are classified as dreaming if they have a functioning brain. As you have said, there is no need for consciousness, because a pure instinct-drive consciousness is sufficient for dream formation. But in my opinion, this means that every instinctive instinct consciousness also stores day impressions, etc., which can even take weeks, months, and years to establish themselves and produce their effects in dreams, as is the case with humans. Again, this also means, as I see it at least, that animal life forms of all kinds, as well as birds, fish, reptiles and beetles and worms, etc., must have an instinct drive memory in which, so to speak, instinct drive memories are stored. Have I understood that correctly?
You have not forgotten anything, but you have added something by your thinking. What you say corresponds to the correctness.
But if this is so, as I explained, then it also means that all animal living beings, all birds and reptiles and the beetle and worms, which have an instinct drive consciousness and thus in some way a functioning brain, must logically also be classified into an instinct drive emotional form, and further also into an instinct drive psychic form. Is that right?
Your execution needs no further explanation.
Contact Report 412.
Well, my friend, you have a clever hunch, because I dreamt about how several of the trees fell down due to snow loads and by storm, killing Engelbert and 2 hikers. So I acted immediately and cut down all the trees I saw falling down in my dream or where heavy branches were falling down, and 1 rider was also seriously injured. I rely on my dreams when they occur in this way. I have always done well with that and could avoid a lot of bad things.
Contact Report 572.
Surrealism is therefore based on something completely imaginary, imagined, illusory, deceptive, and on something strange and utopian, unreal, intangible, and unreal. In my opinion, the whole thing has nothing to do with fantasy. What is your opinion?
Surrealism really has nothing to do with fantasy, but with pathologically unreal and imaginative illusory ideas, which in a certain sense show unreal forms of delusional structures. The whole of surrealism thus corresponds to something unreal, confused and erroneously alien to reality, which is a sign that the human being, who is temporarily or permanently addicted to surrealism, lives in a completely abnormal world of thoughts and feelings, which he cannot reconcile with reality and thus behaves towards it in one of the many forms of outsiderhood. This corresponds to a certain pathologically absurd, confused thought behavior which cannot be reconciled with a really healthy combination of real ideas about reality. With regard to the human beings who create surrealistic things, such as so-called works of art, etc., or who are also only temporarily addicted to surrealistic ideas, they are unstable with regard to reality, and therefore, at least in certain moments, openly break through a certain unreal and unworldly reality and unfamiliarity with the world in terms of ideas, thoughts, and imagination.
Imagination can also be incorporated into purely futuristic ideas and works, but I do not see surrealism in them.
Imagination, whatever its form, has nothing to do with surrealism, but is always formed in a way of reality or in something that can become reality. If, for example, utopian things and works, etc., are conceived, designed, or produced, they always have features that correspond to reality or can become reality.
Human beings who think surrealistically, etc., how is their ratio to reality to be judged?
The human beings who think surrealistically and create things are normal human beings, but there is a conscious deficiency in their ability to imagine in terms of a healthy imagination and reality. These are out of touch with reality, although this state can be temporary or also permanent and can take on schizophrenic forms.
So surrealists are actually normal human beings in terms of their understanding and reasoning. But the human being's consciousness is temporarily or permanently freaked out in relation to ideas, which is pathological if it lasts. But what about the dreams that occur in a surreal way, as is said? For my part, I have never had surrealistic dreams.
The more reality and truth connected the human being is, the more realistically he dreams and thinks too, whereby fantastic and utopian appearances can also be woven in, but never surrealistic images.
Does this mean that the human being whose consciousness, mind, and reason function correctly cannot have surrealistic dreams?
That is correct. Surrealism is based on a dysfunction of consciousness, mind and reason, and in a permanent state of consciousness, mind and reason, there is usually a pathological form of alienation from reality up to schizophrenia.
Contact Report 618.
Prophecies as a rule are based on probability calculations, dreams, and visions.
Contact Report 670.
Prophecies 2. Prophecies are based on inspirations, dreams, visions or calculations of probability, and indicate future events and happenings that will result from certain behaviors, attitudes, speeches and deeds, etc., if they are carried out and maintained in an unchanged manner over a period of time, whereby the period of time until the fulfillment of the prophecy can be short-term or even last for centuries or millennia. Predictions. Predictions are made through dreams of truth, visions of truth, through real foresight and wandering of future consciousness, or feeling of future consciousness, whereby the real future is seen as well as through leaps in time, or time journeys into the future. The future developments and future looks resulting from this are based on events that will effectively and irrevocably occur in the future, and which cannot possibly be changed.
Contact Report 790.
The great writers, many of whom were only great with their works because they were inspired by their dreams, which they allowed themselves to have with hemp.